Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books. How are you guys doing today? I love books. I love to read. I so bad wanted to go to the library today, and I did not get my lazy butt out of this house in time to go to the library. And I was going to do a library haul, which is pointless because I always do these library hauls and then I never read the books that I'm going to talk about anyway. So it's like, what's the point? I just like going to the library. I'm in love with the library. People are so nice at the library. Well, most of the people are nice at the library. And I used to want to be a librarian when I was a little kid. I thought that would be so much fun. But there was this book that I absolutely loved called Help, I'm a Prisoner in the Library by F. Clifford. Have you ever read this book? It's about Mary Rose and what's her little sister's name? Jolene and Joe, I can't remember. Anyway, I should read it on here sometime. It's fantastic. And it's about Joe, Beth, and Mary Rose. Oh my God. And I used to have Cloudfish that I named those two. But anyway, it's about these little girls and their dad, last minute Harry, is on the way to taking them to their grandparents' house because their mother is pregnant with their little brother and she's giving birth. And so he drives them through Indianapolis, where I live. And my teacher in 4th grade, Mrs. Hop, she read this to us, and we would all like sit on the floor after lunch and have hot chocolate and listen to it, and it would snow outside. Like when books like have memories like that for me, I mean, it means the world, right? So anyway, Joe, Beth, and Mary Rose, they sit in this car, and there's even a picture in the book, and it's like them looking over like the back seat, waiting for their dad, and you can see them walking in the tracks of the snow, and there's like a blizzard outside. And so they don't know where to go, and they're getting very cold, and they're like, well, what if Dad never comes back, and all this kind of stuff. Oh, the car runs out of gas because he's last minute Harry, and so he has to go get gas, and so they get out of the car, and then they go to this old house, and the old house is actually a library, and they go inside, and there's this old lady, and she's asleep upstairs. Did you ever read this book? Oh my God, I love this book. So anyway, I don't want to ruin it for you, but go get Help, I'm a Prisoner in the Library. It's such a great book. Anyway, so why was I talking about that? Oh, I used to want to be a librarian. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about the fact that I didn't get to go to the library today. No, it's not even about that. This is about my January 2017 wrap-up. Anyway, are you ready? Are you ready about all the books I read in 2017? Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I read 6 books in 2017. Almost 7 because I finished The Scene Stone by the Spiderwick Chronicles by Holly Black December 31st. And I remember because I was sitting right over there on New Year's Eve before I was getting ready, and I read it in like one setting. So if for any of these readathons you're ever looking for a book that you can read overnight, any of the Spiderwick Chronicles are fantastic to read. They're great reads, they're standalones, you don't have to read them. I mean, you should always read the first one first or you won't understand what's going on with the Grace children. Just saying. But anyway, let's get right into this. I don't have any of the books because 3 of them I have physical copies with. The other 3 I read on Audible. The 3 that I have physical copies with, I've just put back up into my beautifully organized bookshelf, and I'm not taking them down. I'm sorry. I know, but I just don't want to. So anyway, the first book is Cinder by Marissa Myers, the first book in the Lunar Chronicles. I was supposed to read this book with my friend's daughter, Maddie. If you don't know, Maddie and I do videos on here chatting about books, and she's 12 years old, and so I was supposed to do that with her in September. I just finished it now. She finished it in September. We're still probably going to do a video about it at some point. I absolutely loved Cinder by Marissa Myers. I actually gave it, I think 4.5 stars, I said, when I did my review. And the reason why, if you don't know, oh, by the way, if you don't know, I am reviewing every book that I read in 2017. And a lot of people supported that, and a lot of people criticized it and said that they don't really watch review videos. And I understand why people don't, because they don't want it spoiled for them. And I'm kind of the same way. I still feel like as booktubers, we should do reviews of books. I feel like we're reading books. We should do that, at least for the author. I think we should do that so then they can link our reviews to like their websites or whatever. And as an author, I would just kind of like to hear somebody's review, like what they thought, like good or bad, I'd like to hear about it. So, and then a lot of people said that they do all the reviews at the end of the month when they do a wrap-up, and I think that's fine too. I'm going to review every book that I read for the year of 2017. Yesterday, I just put up a review of Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad. So anyway, but Marissa Myers, Cinder, I would give it like all the way through a 4.5. I loved it. I love Cinder. I fell in love with the story. I thought it was like geniusly done. I thought as characters, they were very, very well developed. I'm excited to read the rest of the Lunar Chronicles. I did not like how it ended. And I said that when I did my review. I felt like it was a cliffhanger. And I'm not big on cliffhangers in series. I feel like in a series, books should feel like standalones that makes you want to read the next one. Not a trick at the end of the book, like if you want to find out what else happens, read the rest of the books. Like, I don't like that. I think that's a cheat. I think that's unfair. So that's why I ended up giving Cinder 4.5 stars instead of 5. I would have given it 5. I loved it that much. The next book that I read that I actually started the week of Christmas and didn't finish until January was Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot's, I can't pronounce that, Christmas. And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's a great mystery. I love all of Agatha Christie's mysteries. I've read them since I was a little kid. Agatha Christie actually, I think, is a big reason why I wanted to be an author. I just would like read her stuff and I just fell in love with like the idea of the author, if that makes sense. I also watched all of the movies like Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, Evil Under the Sun. Evil Under the Sun is hands down my favorite movie of all of the Agatha Christie movies. And there's been series of Hercule Poirot's. I won't be reading another one of his books because then I'll have to pronounce it on my channel. Please excuse me, I have had hiccups all day long. And I don't think it's a true story that water helps hiccups. But anyway, being scared helps hiccups. Look at my peepee that Dane sent us. We are like obsessed with it. Alex like really was moved by that picture. So anyway, doesn't it look just like peepee so much? Anyway, okay. So that was that, and it's about this murder that takes place out in this estate. If you like Agatha Christie and you haven't read it, it's a great mystery. It's very quick. Go read it. It's a good book. The next book that I read was All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda, and like I said, all these reviews are up. You can go look at them. And this was a mystery about a woman that comes back to her hometown 10 years after this girl goes missing, and then another girl goes missing. I really liked the concept of this book, and you guys know that I like missing or like kidnapping stories, those kinds of things. But this was very confusing to me, the way that it was told. It was told like backwards, like day one. It just was confusing. I did not care for how it was written. I think had she done it differently and outlined it differently, I think it would have been a phenomenal book. I thought the ending I never saw coming. I thought the ending was very good as far as a mystery. I ended up giving it 4 stars. She has another book, Megan Miranda, coming out this year. I will read it. I thought she was an excellent mystery writer. I think she's got another book out, somebody said to me, that came out before this. I feel like by your second or your third book, especially as a mystery writer, you kind of should be getting your thing going, you know what I mean? Now, I think as an author, she would stand behind how she wrote the book the way that she did. I think it was to build suspense, and that it was also to this is where I think beta readers from authors really come in handy. And I had beta readers for my book, and I only had one. I had a beta reader. I only had one, and I wish I had had like 3 or 4 that would give me different perspectives. And if you don't know what a beta reader is that an author that reaches out to you and says, will you read my book and objectively give me your opinion, like what works, what doesn't work, those kinds of things. A lot of times authors have them as they go and are writing a book, so you give them a chapter and you go, okay, this isn't working. Like, this character doesn't make any sense. I think had she had more objective beta readers, I think they would have told her the sequence of how you tell the book is uncomfortable. Like, it's uncomfortable to read. Maybe that was her intention. I don't know. For me, it didn't work. I read some of the other reviews. Other people really liked it. So that's all I can say about that. I mean, it just wasn't my favorite. The next book on the heels of that was Adam Silvera's More Happy Than Not. What's interesting about this book is that I have read a lot of reviews lately and seen a lot of reviews, especially by younger gay guys, who did not love this book. I was blown away, okay? Like, this book was so beautifully told to me, and the last third of the book went in a direction that I never expected, and I just was like, this is absolutely incredible. Like, I loved it so much. The characters are so rich. The telling of it is so rich. If you like Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, it has hints of that in the storytelling. The storytelling has heritage and culture in it in the same way that Benjamin Ayer Science has his like interweaves culture and heritage into it, which I thought was beautiful. And it is a coming of age story. It's not necessarily it is a coming out story, kind of, but not really. And, you know, I just think it's an awesome book. And a lot of people that I know personally, it really moved them to think about their own sexuality and, you know, their own feelings about the world. And what a greater compliment to a book to say, wow, you really changed my thinking on the world. You really changed my perspective. This book did this for me. Not necessarily in my sexuality, obviously, because I already know, so. But it did challenge my perspective on what people mean to us. And in the grand scheme of things, and in the grand scheme of the period over a life, what does somebody mean to us? And so it was a powerful, powerful book. And I am actually, my next book that I'm reading is A History of Us, which is a brand new book that just came out. All right, the next book that I read is The Fragile World by Paula Trek-DeBoard. I gave it 4 stars. And I'm not doing percentages, but on my reviews, I give every book a percentage. Paula Trek-DeBoard has become one of my favorite authors of all time. She is a fantastic writer. It's literary fiction, but it feels like mystery when you're reading it because you don't really know where it's going, and there's a lot of like things to try to figure out as you go. The book I read before was called The Morning Hours, and I actually read them out of order. I think it goes The Fragile Life, The Fragile World. I don't know why I can't remember this title. That's interesting to me when you read a book and you can't remember the title. I cannot remember the title of this book to save my life. And I think it's because it had no relevance really to the book. I mean, it did, like in looking back, I understand why she titled that, but it doesn't play into it like The Fault in Our Stars or books like that. Does that make sense? So anyway, this book is very interesting. It is about a family where they have a son who's in college. He goes to Oberlin in Ohio. He's like a child prodigy musician, and he ends up dying out of a freak accident, and it's how the family is affected by it. It's also a road trip story. It goes way deeper than that. I mean, she's a phenomenal writer. It just didn't have the umph that The Morning Hours had for me, which is why I gave it, I think I gave it like 4.5 stars or 4.2 stars. Like a 91 or 92%, which is still an A. It's still an A, Paula. So, hey, Paula! So anyway, I would love if she reached out to me and said, would you please be a beta reader on my next book? I love her so much. But anyway, I mean, I want her as my friend. She's a fantastic writer. So anyway, I loved it. I just didn't love it as much as The Morning Hours. I think that's one of the things that's tricky about being an author is that your books start being compared to each other, right? And I have her next book, which is called The Drowning Hours. I actually already own it on Audible, and I'll be listening to that in the next couple months. We're actually going to Miami, and it takes place in Florida, so I think I'm going to read it in Florida. And then the last book that I read for the month of January, which will be 6 books total, which I'm a little below my trying to aim for 100 books, is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I just did my review of this yesterday. You guys, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I would give it 10 out of 10 stars. I would give it 100 out of 100 stars. I think it is such an important novel to be read. I really went into it thinking I would be a little bored. I do not like historical fiction at all. I was not bored at all. It was the suspense of the historical story and of Cora's story, who's the main character, is so beautifully told. You never know where it's going to go. You never know what's going to happen next. But at the same time, I was so truly educated on what it must be like to be the life of a slave. And at the same time, and I mentioned this in my review, it is also a history of white privilege in the United States. And as a white man reading this book, it really made me question the way that I act on a daily basis, and really made me think about things on, a more mindful way, if that makes sense. It also made me aware that only, 200 years, less than 200 years out from slavery, that we still see so much of that life in our daily life in the United States. It's everywhere, the injustice of that. And it was such a phenomenal book for me. It just was, it was an Oprah pick of the month book, and I can tell you that sometimes Oprah's books don't really do it for me. This will be a contender for one of the best books I've read this year, hands down. I mean, it will be taught in our school someday. It was that fantastic. And somebody said to me that if you're going to read the book, you should also go and watch the interviews with Colson Whitehead on YouTube for why he wrote this book. And I haven't watched the interviews yet, so that is kind of my plan this week. once I watch those interviews, I may come back and do another discussion about it because I think it is such an important book to read. So anyway, those are the 6 books that I read for the month of January. If you are not a booktuber and you'd like to let me know what books you did for the month of January or you read for this month of January, let me know in the comment section below. Always feel free, like if you did a January wrap up, to link your video below too. I think you can still do that on YouTube. It'll bring it to my attention and I'll see it quicker. So, I mean, I love to do that. I watch so many videos in a day. I probably watch 20, 40, 50 videos a day. Honest to God, I do. So anyway, I love you guys so much. Follow me on all my social media. And if you're interested, I am vlogging every day of my life for the year 2017 on my new channel called Peter Vlogs. It's listed below. And yeah, and say bye-bye to PP. I will talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.